At the top of a nightclub, smoke fills the room. As blue and red shells skip across the bloody floor, here, God couldn't even beat the game of luck. Russian roulette. A potentially lethal game of chance in which the player puts a single bullet in a revolver, spins the cylinder, places the gun to their head or their opponent's head, and plays a game of life or death. Essentially, it's a game of chicken, except instead of motor vehicles, you're using revolvers. Now replace those revolvers with a shotgun, and then you'll have yourself a neat little game called Buckshot Roulette, a computer game by Mike Klipnika. This game was posted exactly 19 days ago as of writing this script, and has been circulating all over YouTube's algorithm. But why though? What's the appeal? Other than its intriguing art style, gritty atmosphere, slight nod to lore around the game and the world they're living in, and the wicked replayability, I'd say the best word to use is fairness. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start by looking at the finer details this game has to offer. It's a quick play, with each run really only being about 15 to 20 minutes, and the game only has 2 endings as of right now. Once booting the game up, you start in a restroom, as you can hear muffled music coming from just outside the door. On the wall you see the word afraid, almost seeming like it's asking the protagonist directly, along with some pills on the counter, which then turns out to be Quaalude. Quaalude.
Quaalude.
A nervous system drug known to be hypnotic. Our protagonist collects himself and kicks open the door. Now visually, we can see we're at the top of some club, and thanks to the synopsis of the game, we know it's a nightclub. Continuing further, we kick down yet another door to find a table surrounded by lighting fixtures. That's when something comes out of the shadows. A man, or better yet a demon with a giant smile on his face, demands us to sign a liability form. Now, fun fact, during my research for this video, I found out that Russian roulette isn't necessarily illegal. What's illegal is the law of public endangerment, but the act itself is totally legal as long as if both parties consent, if the owner's gun is actually registered, and if it's taking place in a private area. So this entire premise isn't too far off. Back to the game, however, you sign your name and the game continues like normal. However, if you put your name as God, it won't process the name, a strange detail we will explore later. But for me, I put my name and I got straight into the game. The game starts simple enough. Red shells are live rounds and blues are blank. You and the dealer are given 3 charges each, and the shells are loaded at random. And you have to have better luck than your opponent to win. Simple enough. When you do beat the first round, that's when things get a bit more interesting. A new rule is implemented. You're given a box that could hold up to 6 different items. A beer, which empties the round and sometimes ends the round. A knife that adds bonus damage to yourself and others. Some handcuffs that skip the dealer's turn or yourself. A magnifying glass which allows you to see the current shell. Some cigarettes to take the edge off and give you a shock back, and a liability form with blood splattered on it, labeled God? That's why naming yourself God doesn't work, because the dealer knows you aren't, because God himself lost the game of luck. Back to the actual game, not much else happens. You play one more round, and if you lose, it's game over. You said I should have walked away? My bad, bro. But if you beat the dealer one more time, the third round commenced. The safety net of charges were removed, and as the dealer puts it, now, me and you, we are dancing on the edge of life and death. I'm the GOAT, so I beat it on my first try. After the defeat of the dealer, red eyes glow in the shadows and I'm given a briefcase filled with cash. I'm then shown riding in a car with said briefcase and the shotgun. Now the bad ending is actually if you lose the third round, you're shown a gate that opens and you're immediately sucked in, seemingly going to the afterlife. I have no idea what the spikes could mean. Earlier, I used the word fair to describe the game's appeal, but gambling isn't at all fair, or at least at the casino. As you know, Russian roulette is named after an actual game called Roulette. The rules are completely different, but the characteristics of pure chance and randomness are present in both. Except one, you'll lose your life, and the other, you'll just lose some money. But Mike takes the entire game of Russian roulette and makes it a strategy game, allowing items to be used for both parties and even showing rare instances of the dealer making mistakes just like us. It makes us feel like we have a fighting chance, that we aren't against some future reading machine, that we actually can do something that God himself failed to do. The game just feels completely and utterly fair.